those of us here in our community, we wanted to memorialize not only the families that we lost and those loved ones that we lost, but also the effort of this greater community that extended beyond our borders.
One of our family members said at one of our meetings early on, the more we talk about them, the more they lived. And I just see, from the families, they don't want their loved ones forgotten. And this is a way that they can be remembered by everybody who comes to the memorial.
When I received the phone call, I was pretty excited that something was going to be done, not just for my brother, but for the other 42. And that's where it started. I lost my brother in the slide. He was the 42nd out of the 43 found. He was found on May 22nd. He was out there for exactly 2 months.
Some of the hardest things initially after the slide was the people that lived there that we had to work with and work side by side. And on one hand, it was a blessing that we got to be there for them. But on the flip side, we got to share their emotions. You're out digging in the slide and searching for things and for people. But then when there's another human element standing next to you that is attached to those things, it completely changes your perspective. And that was, I've heard multiple people that were digging in the slides say the same thing. It didn't slap me in the face until we found something and somebody next to me, it was their stuff or their person. And those emotions become raw and real right then and there.
I wanted the space to be raw and ugly as it was on March 22nd, 2014, because I wanted people to feel how impossible that event was. And at some point, you might not even be able to see where the slide came from. You would not understand what occurred there other than the loss of life. And this is where I think the designers and the families in the county, the Park Service really came together and created something that reminds us not only of the geology, not only of this place, but of the individuals and the families that lived there and the people and the folks that went in, but also the people from the outside world or in our communities that supported those activities as we went forward and brought everybody home.
I was asked if I would be interested in being on a committee for the memorial. And of course, no hesitation. And it was an absolute yes, and been there ever since.
Right from the beginning, there was so much emotion charged to the project that we would have meetings and it would just get dead quiet in the room. And you just knew that, people were reliving their own trauma every time that they showed up.
It was very interesting in the beginning because you have all these different ideas and they had to somewhat scale it back. And at the same time, they didn't want it to be a gaudy tourist attraction. They wanted it to be something that people felt at ease with.
When we started, there was a little bit of seed money from the county to get us going. But after many years of fundraising, the funding really wasn't coming in. But what we did do with the early funding that we had is we were trying to do like something every year, so we were making progress. Ultimately, what happened is there was extra funding one year in the county budget.
You could see something was up with Tom. And we had our little Zoom meeting, and he's chomping at the bit to talk. Okay, what do you need to say? And he says, we got the money. So it was, then we were at the highest high of all when we knew that we had the money. I could not speak. And I'm not one short for words, but I could not speak.
When that funding came through, man, that was a great moment because we just had been, picking away at things and trying to do the best we could. But then it was like, okay, we've got the money. We can go now. We can make this happen. And one of the early things that we did was we hired a company that came in and helped us just conceptualize, what the memorial would be like. But this company, Mid Portico, they had done other memorials. So they talked about how people experience a site like this, and they taught us this acronym of ADROIT. Just understanding that when people come to a site like this, they just need that chance to be like, okay, this is where I'm at, and then walk away with that chance to be transformed with your experience. It was decided early on, even before I got involved, that it was going to be very family-centered first. We were going to start with the families who lost their loved ones, understand and hear what they have to say, and then we were going to work out through circles, basically. So the survivors, the community, the responders, and from each, kind of sequence, understand more what people wanted.
We were having weekly meetings, and 3 people submitted designs for the panels, for the first responders, and for the beacon. And Sharon didn't tell us who was who. She just showed us pictures. And so we picked a picture. And every picture we picked, I can't speak for anybody else, I'd get goosebumps, the hair would raise on my arm. And so we picked, and Sharon goes, and we all agreed. And she says, you guys picked the same artist for all 3 designs. It's just, it needs to be about the family. I get that all these are going to be beautiful, but you need to walk through, and you need to be able to say, I get this person. I understand this person. Oh, I get this family. And I think Sylvanar nailed it.
That all those individuals that contributed to the design and the construction absolutely had to feel the spirit of all the folks that were there, the neighborhood, the efforts.
I think that they have done a good job at the memorial of tying enough in that it doesn't matter if you're a stranger or if you were involved, from day one, that you fully understand as you walk through that what happened and how affected that everyone around us was. As a firefighter, you have to be able to compartmentalize things, and there's some things you just can't. Even sitting here talking with you, I can't fully suppress it enough to not let it overwhelm me. But the memorial I feel like it's that space where you can go in and you can break down, or you can take a breath. There's so many different aspects of it that it allows those emotions to bubble up in a safe way.
It's the best thing that we could have did for the community, for the family members. It's the legacy of the lost loved ones. It's the first responders. The community's gonna have that. So now you have a place that if you didn't start healing, maybe this is your beginning, that you can now go to somewhere and go heal. You got a heart, you're gonna leave with tears.
I think it's something that we need to be proud of, but also go forward with the respect of everything that has happened since March 22nd, 2014, going into the future.